And we're back on WGN-TV Political Report. Across America and here in Illinois, political divisions continue to grow. And at the same time, so does reliance on misinformation, often spread through sources like social media. Never has it been more important that we, the media, help our audience understand the world around them. Yet trust between the press, the governments they cover, the audiences they serve remains at an all-time low. Well, my next guest spent decades covering local and national news before joining the White House press corps during the Trump administration. His new book, Free the Press, The Death of American Journalism and How to Revive It, is out on bookshelves January 15th. Author Brian Karem walks us through what he sees as the solution. And joining me now is Brian Karem, author of Free the Press. Brian, congratulations on a great book. Anybody in the media needs to read it, but we're going to do a little teaching outside the media.
Well, thank you.
One of the messages you give in this book is that you say journalists need to clean up their business in terms of what they do and how they do it. You even say Dan Rather calls the press spineless. What does that mean?
I think basically what's happened over the last few years is that the press has, as we've been bought out by larger corporations, we've eliminated all the rails that kept us doing what we do right. So, I mean, we need editors, we need better writers, we need more experience, and we need people to clean up what we're doing just on a daily basis, making sure that we don't just quote sources, we actually vet facts.
One of the things that will surprise people, I mean, we all know that President Trump went after the press, enemy of the people, all that kind of thing. But one of the things that you reminded me of in the book is that if you're looking for when the press lost its control of its own estate, you actually have to go back to the Reagan days. And by the way, enter Clinton, enter Obama. This isn't a Republican thing.
No, it's an every president since Reagan thing. And it actually, I mean, you could say it started with Nixon and Roger Ailes, but it was Reagan who took away some of the guardrails, and then every president since him has done the same. And so it's been this just contribution, this endless contribution over the last 40 years to the deconstruction of the First Amendment that has led us to where we are now.
And just to bring Obama up, because that's so recent, what did he do?
Well, he overused the Espionage Act. You use an espionage. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world, to use the Espionage Act to stop whistleblowers, which in effect stopped reporters from doing what we had to do, which is why we need a national shield law to protect reporters from going to jail when they have confidential sources.
With all the 24/7 cable, this next point seems to make so much sense when you think about it, which is you say the press has hurt itself in his endeavor because they no longer frame the narrative. All they basically do is go for clickbait. And I think you tie some of that to corporate ownership.
Yeah, it actually is corporate. Look, as you know, when I got into this business, 20% of what you see, read, or hear was dictated to you by about 20, 24 companies. Today, it's more than 90% is owned by about 6 companies. So as they've gotten larger and dedicated our business to the bottom line, they've cut costs. And in cutting costs, they've cut salaries. And in cutting salaries, they've removed people that have the experience to be where they are. And that's part of the problem. That's the largest part of the problem, is just a lack of experience.
You emphasize the importance of local reporters. You say they do a better job than national journalists. And if you want to know what's going on, read your local newspaper. Of course, local newspapers are shrinking. So what is your comment on that? And by the way, do you draw a distinction between a reporter and a journalist?
Well, they used to say a journalist is an out-of-work reporter. So that's that's the biggest difference. But yeah, there's huge, vast news deserts in this country where there are no local news. Where you cannot find local news, and you need to reinvest in local news product, and that means tax breaks. That means in some places nonprofit. It means a combination of things you need a local newspaper. You need a reporter in the city council, not only city, county council covering the state house, but also, at PTA meetings and school board meetings. There needs to be people on the ground. That's where the best stories are found. That's where the national stories begin. That's where we find out about them.
There was a day when national anchors like Walter Cronkite, the king of them all, had such power and influence. For example, the very famous story of LBJ saying that when Cronkite turned on his newscast against the Vietnam War, right? LBJ said, "I've lost Cronkite, I've lost the middle class." Anchors don't have that kind of influence or power anymore, do they?
Well, no, that's because the anchors today aren't what the anchors were of yesterday. I mean, Walter Cronkite came up as a beat reporter, covered, World War II. He was out in the field. He did a lot of that. Today, you have anchors that are graduating straight from college, going into anchoring, and don't really have, on the ground experience, which is what we need. I point to the White House briefing room. When I first walked in there, Helen Thomas and Sam Donaldson were my mentors, and Sam said, hey, look, Brian, that first row in the Brady briefing room, those 7 seats there's more than 250 years experience. Listen to those people. Of course, he then said Helen had 200 years of it. So that was, but today there's like 60 or 70 years. So, we've lost institutional knowledge.
Yeah, there was that tradition, right, of always giving Helen the first question, no matter what happened.
And the last.
And the last. And of course, those days are over. You end your book by saying, I'm going to quote you, an uninformed public serves a useful purpose to ensure the most corrupt politicians stay in office that are likely to abuse the people. I think that's an informed public. That's a powerful way to end the book. It sounds ominous, but I'm guessing underneath that message is a warning for all.
Well, yeah, the warning is we have to do better. We have to do better. We have to do better in the press, but we also in this country have to hold politicians accountable to keeping the press free. If you don't free us, we're already down the slippery slope. It'd be a lot harder to crawl back up to the top without it. And we just need we need experience. We need people who want to do this job right, and we need to encourage it.
Brian Karem, the book is Free the Press. It's a great read. If you're a journalist, it's an absolute must read. But I think if you're not a journalist or a reporter, it's a great read too, because it's such good insight into that world. Thank you. Congratulations on the great book. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Again, the book is Free the Press, The Death of American Journalism and How to Revive It. It's available this week in stores and online.